The garden lights flickered as my mother raised her champagne glass, her perfect manicure catching the golden glow. To Sierra and Caden, the crystal clinked, everyone beaming except me. I'm Solstice, the other daughter, the one who wasn't just announced as the future Mrs. Reyes after a whirlwind 5-month romance. And, my mother continued, her smile tightening at the corners, we have more exciting news. She gestured to my father, who cleared his throat nervously. I watched him fidget with his collar, already knowing whatever came next would somehow make this evening worse. We've decided to sell the house, he announced, to give Sierra the wedding she deserves. The champagne turned bitter in my mouth. Sierra squealed, clapping her hands while Caden wrapped an arm around her waist. Daddy, really? That's amazing. I set my glass down carefully, counting breaths. This house, my childhood home. The one I'd secretly saved from foreclosure 2 years ago, though none of them knew that particular detail. Of course, Solstice, my mother added, almost as an afterthought. You'll need to find your own place. We're thinking 60 days should be plenty of time. 60 days? I kept my voice neutral, the way I'd learned to over years of being the family afterthought. That's generous. Sierra rolled her eyes. Oh, please, Sewell. It's not like you can't afford it. Besides, you're always saying how you want your own space. I smiled thinly, watching Raphael, our realtor, shift uncomfortably in his chair. He'd been invited to discuss the logistics over dinner. Poor man had no idea what he was walking into. When are you listing? I asked, reaching for the bottle to top off my glass. Tomorrow, my mother beamed. Raphael's already drawn up the paperwork. We're thinking of pricing at $850. I nodded, taking a long sip while mental calculations spun behind my eyes. They had no idea that the mortgage they thought they held was now owned by Sterling Holdings LLC. My company, my rules, my house. Well then, I raised my glass again, to new beginnings. And to the spectacular show they were about to unwittingly star in. You did what? Rachel nearly choked on her coffee as I recounted the previous night's dinner. We were huddled in her office, surrounded by the organized chaos of tax season, reliving the moment that set my revenge in motion 2 years ago. Show her, I nodded to Rachel. She pulled up the documents on her computer, turning the screen toward me. Sterling Holdings LLC, my company, created with my ghostwriting earnings and Rachel's financial wizardry. Remember when they almost lost the house? I traced my finger over the mortgage documents. Dad gambling, mom spending, Sierra's emergency credit card bills. I couldn't let it happen. But I also couldn't just hand them money. They'd blow through it again. So you bought the mortgage through a shell company, Rachel shook her head, admiring the elegance of it. And they never knew. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Raphael just called. Something wrong with the mortgage. Come home now. Showtime, I smiled, gathering my things. How long until they figure it out? They won't, Rachel assured me. The paperwork's airtight. Cyrus at the investment firm knows exactly what to say. I arrived home to find my mother pacing the kitchen, phone pressed to her ear. What do you mean you can't tell me who owns it? I make payments every month. I have rights. I settled into a kitchen chair, watching her face redden. My father stood by the window, looking lost. A private party, she screeched. What private party? When did this happen? I pulled out my laptop, pretending to work on my latest ghostwriting project while the drama unfolded. Sierra burst in 20 minutes later, still in her yoga clothes. Mom says we can't sell? What about my wedding? She turned to me, eyes narrowing. Did you know about this? I looked up. The picture of innocence. Know about what? The mortgage. Some company owns it now. They won't approve the sale. That's terrible, I said, closing my laptop. Have you considered a smaller wedding? Sierra's face contorted like she'd bitten into a lemon. Smaller? Are you insane? This is my special day. I stood up, patting her shoulder as I headed for the stairs. Then I guess you better start problem solving, sis. Sounds like you've got quite the situation on your hands. Solstice, you must know something. My mother cornered me in the study, where I'd been working on my latest manuscript. You're always noticing things. Taking notes. I write fiction, Mom, for other people. I kept typing, not looking up. What exactly should I know? She perched on the edge of my desk, blocking my screen. The mortgage company. The timing. It's suspicious. Everything's suspicious to you, I replied, finally meeting her gaze. Remember when you thought the mailman was stealing Sierra's college acceptance letters? That was different, she huffed. This is about our home. My phone pinged. Sierra's latest Instagram post. Wedding dress shopping. Can't wait to be Mrs. Reyes. You blessed, perfect match, your destination wedding. Rachel's text arrived seconds later. Background check complete. Call me ASAP. Mom, I need to take this. I stood up, already moving toward the door. Work call. I locked myself in my bedroom before dialing Rachel. What did you find? Caden's got 3 pending lawsuits for fraud. He's been engaged twice before. Both times. He cleaned out joint accounts and disappeared. And get this, he hasn't had a job in 18 months. I sat on my bed processing. Send me everything. Already did. Check your email. Rachel paused. What are you going to do? Nothing, I smiled. But I know someone who runs a popular wedding planning blog. Anonymous tips about sketchy grooms are their specialty. Downstairs, I heard Sierra's voice rising. The venue needs a deposit by Friday. What do you mean we can't get a loan? I opened my laptop, crafting careful emails to wedding vendors and Sierra's bridesmaids. Each one contained just enough truth to spark concern, just enough detail to seem credible. My phone buzzed again. A text from Caden. We need to talk. No, I typed back. We really don't. I know you're behind this, he replied. Meet me at Riverside Coffee tomorrow at 2, or I tell Sierra about your little investigation. I forwarded his message to Rachel, adding, Bring your recorder tomorrow. Time to let Caden show his true colors. The pieces were falling into place, one careful move at a time. Raphael shifted in his seat at our dining room table, loosening his tie. Mrs. Ortiz, I've spoken with Sterling Holdings again. They're firm. The house cannot be sold without their approval, and they're declining. This is ridiculous. My mother slammed her hand on the table. We own this house. Technically, Raphael cleared his throat, you don't. You hold occupancy rights as long as you make payments, but the mortgage holder has final say on sale approval. I sipped my tea, watching the scene unfold like a play I directed myself. There must be something, my father pleaded. Sierra's wedding is in 3 months. Raphael gathered his papers. The only option would be paying off the mortgage in full. Otherwise, the front door crashed open. Sierra stormed in, mascara streaking her face. You! She pointed at me. What did you tell Amanda? Your maid of honor? I raised an eyebrow. I haven't spoken to her in weeks. She just called off the wedding planning. Said she received concerning information about Caden. Sierra's voice cracked. This has you written all over it. My mother stood up. Solstice, if you're interfering... I'm not, I cut her off. But since we're talking about Caden, has anyone actually verified what he does for work? Sierra's face flushed. He's in between projects. For 18 months? I pulled out my phone, scrolling through documents. That's interesting, because according to public records... Stop it, Sierra screamed. You're just jealous. You've always been jealous because no one wants you. The room fell silent. Raphael coughed awkwardly, gathering his things. I should go. Mrs. Ortiz, call me if you want to discuss other options. As he left, my mother turned to me, eyes narrow. "What have you done?" I stood up, tucking my phone away. Nothing that wasn't already true. Maybe ask your perfect daughter why her fiancé's previous 2 engagements ended with empty bank accounts. Sierra's face went white. What? Oh, I paused at the doorway. You didn't know. Funny how some things just come to light. I left them standing there, the truth finally starting to crack their perfect facade. Sometimes revenge isn't about what you do, it's about what you reveal. Caden cornered me in the parking lot after work, his charming smile replaced by something darker. "You think you're clever, don't you?" I kept my phone recording in my pocket, Rachel's advice ringing in my ears. "I think this conversation is over." "It's over when I say it's over." He stepped closer, blocking my path to my car. "You've been digging, spreading rumors." "Rumors?" I met his gaze. "Like the restraining order Jessica filed in 2021? Or the joint account you emptied in Phoenix?" His face twitched. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Actually, I do. I know about the fraud charges, the fake investment scheme, even that interesting little bankruptcy filing." I pulled out my phone, showing him the screen. "Should I keep going?" "Listen." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I love your sister. This time is different." "Different like Maria's different? Before you took her life savings?" He grabbed my wrist. "You need to shut up." "Or what?" I didn't pull away. "You'll do to me what you did to your last fiancé's sister when she caught on?"
"The one who ended up in the hospital?" His grip tightened. "That was an accident, I'm sure, just like this conversation is being recorded and live-streamed to my lawyer." I nodded toward my phone. "Want to leave a few more threats on record?" He dropped my wrist like it burned him. "You're bluffing." "Try me." I stepped around him, unlocking my car. "Oh, and Caden, the police report from Phoenix, I sent copies to Sierra's email an hour ago."
"Might want to check your phone." As if on cue, his phone started ringing. Sierra's contact photo flashed on the screen. "You bitch," he snarled. "No," I corrected him, getting into my car. "I'm just the sister who actually pays attention. And unlike the others, I'm not afraid of you." I drove away, watching him in my rearview mirror as he answered his phone. Even from a distance, I could see him gesturing wildly, his perfect mask finally cracking. Rachel texted moments later. "Got the recording. Want me to send it to Sierra?" "No," I replied. "Save it. We might need it for the police later." The certified letter arrived on a Tuesday morning. I heard my mother's scream from upstairs, followed by the thunder of footsteps. "You?" She burst into my room, waving the papers. "All this time. It was you." I glanced at the Sterling Holdings LLC letterhead, my signature clear at the bottom. Surprise. "How dare you?" She threw the papers at me. "Your own family." "Family?" I stood up slowly. "Was it family when you tried to kick me out? When you were selling my house to fund Sierra's fairy tale?" "Your house?" My father appeared in the doorway, face ashen. "We paid the mortgage every month." "To me," I corrected. "You paid it to me, after I saved it from foreclosure 2 years ago. Remember that gambling debt, Dad?"
"The one that mysteriously disappeared." He stumbled back like I'd slapped him. "That's impossible. You couldn't afford—" "I'm a ghostwriter," I cut him off. "I write bestsellers for other people. I make more in 3 months than you do in a year." My mother sank onto my bed. "Why didn't you tell us? Would you have listened? Or would you have asked me to give it all to Sierra, like everything else?" The front door slammed downstairs. Sierra appeared moments later, mascara streaking her cheeks. "Caden's gone." "What do you mean, gone?" My mother rushed to her. He emptied our joint account, took everything. Sierra's eyes locked on me. You knew. You tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. I picked up the papers from the floor. The house stays in my name. You can keep living here, for now, but there are going to be changes. You can't do this, my mother whispered. Actually, I can. It's all there in black and white. I handed her the documents. I suggest you read them carefully, especially the part about new rental terms. Sierra slid down the wall, hugging her knees. You've won. Is that what you wanted to hear? You were right about everything. I looked at my broken family, the facades finally crumbling, the truth laying waste to their carefully constructed illusions. No, I said quietly, I didn't want to win. I just wanted to stop losing. We need to talk about this as a family, my mother announced at dinner 1 week after the revelation. The table felt smaller somehow, Sierra's empty chair a silent accusation. Talk about what? I set down my fork. How you plan to sell my house, or how you never once asked what I wanted. You're being dramatic, she snapped. Everything we did was for this family. No, I corrected. Everything you did was for Sierra. The college fund you drained for her spring break, the car you bought her while I took the bus, the credit cards you paid off while I worked 3 jobs. My father stared at his plate. We thought we were being fair. Fair? I laughed. When was the last time you asked about my work? My life? Did you know I wrote 3 bestsellers last year? Under someone else's name, my mother scoffed. Because I chose to. Because I learned early that being invisible was safer than competing with the golden child. The doorbell rang. Raphael stood outside looking uncomfortable. I heard about Caden. I'm so sorry. Don't be, I said. Come in, you should hear this too. He followed me back to the dining room. I'm resigning as your realtor, he announced. This situation is complicated. Nothing's complicated, my mother protested. Solstice is just being difficult. Difficult? I pulled out my phone, opening a folder. Should we talk about the second mortgage you took out without telling Dad, or the credit card you opened in Sierra's name when she was 16? My mother's face went white. How did you? I pay attention. I always have. I turned to Raphael. Thank you for coming. You can tell your other clients the house is officially off the market. After he left, my father finally spoke. What do you want from us? Want? I stood up. I wanted parents who saw me, who valued me. Instead, I got experts in favoritism and financial fraud. We're still your family, my mother whispered. No, I gathered my dishes. You're my tenants, and your rent is going up next month. I left them at the table, the weight of years of neglect finally crushing their perfect family fantasy. Rachel helped me pack the last box from my bedroom, marking it office in neat black letters. Are you sure about this? The house is mine, I said, taping it shut, but I don't have to live in it. Downstairs, my mother watched from the kitchen as movers carried out my furniture. Sierra sat at the counter, scrolling through her phone. Her Instagram following had plummeted after I leaked screenshots of her bullying messages to previous bridesmaids. The rental agreement is on the table, I told them. Market rate, due on the 1st. Late fees apply? Where will you go? My father asked softly. I bought a loft downtown, near my publisher's office. I pulled out a manuscript from my bag, my first book under my own name. It's about a family who learns the hard way that karma comes collecting. My mother flinched. Is that really necessary? Consider it therapy. I handed Sierra a copy. You might recognize some characters. I'm sorry, Sierra whispered, not meeting my eyes, about everything. I know. But sorry doesn't fix 29 years of being treated like a backup plan. Rachel appeared with the last box. "Car's loaded. Your new place is ready." I took one final look around the house, my house, seeing it clearly for the first time. Every corner held a memory of being overlooked. Every room echoed with preferences given and love withheld. "The property manager will be in touch," I said. "Don't try to contact me directly." "You're really doing this?" My mother's voice cracked. "Cutting us off completely?" I turned to her. "No, Mom, you did this years ago. I'm just finally walking away." Outside, the summer air felt lighter somehow. Rachel loaded the last box into my car as I took out my phone, pulling up the manuscript I'd been working on secretly for months. "Ready to send it to your editor?" she asked. I hit send without hesitation. It's time my story was heard. I drove away from my childhood home, leaving behind the weight of expectations and the chains of obligation. Sometimes winning isn't about revenge. It's about finally setting yourself free.